course, behind each of those numbers is a person and a family struggling with loss. Today, Tan Trung talks with some of those dealing with the remains and the struggle to give people a proper goodbye.
A patriarch of New Orleans jazz, an Orleans sheriff's deputy, a judge, a World War II veteran, and a 43-year-old mother. They're among the nearly 2,000 people who have died from COVID-19 in Louisiana.
I've never seen anything like this.
Tiffany Simmons is the general manager at Lake Lawn Funeral Home. In mid-March, they handled their first COVID-related service. Since then, Simmons says it's grown exponentially. Part of their duty is to provide serenity during some of the most trying times in people's lives. Now they must do it during a time of pandemic. Seeing so much grief can take its toll.
Because we are essential personnel, just like the medical staff, I've seen it taxing mostly on our employees. I mean, they're coming to work every day serving these families, and they are here taking the burden of grief that they can to try and make this difficult time easier.
This is a harsh reality of COVID-19. 9 more people in Louisiana will likely die from the coronavirus, which would bring the state's death toll to 2,000. The role of funeral homes is now to help grieving families say goodbye to their loved ones with some dignity, but also a certain level of safety.
Everything's changed for us in the last 2 months. Most of our arrangements are done through webcasting or phone arrangements, DocuSign documents. Funerals are limited to 10 people.
That means this chapel on site won't be filled for the foreseeable future. Many funeral homes have had to secure more space to accommodate the number of people dying from the virus. And they also have to follow new safety guidelines in handling the bodies of those patients.
So it's really forced us to think differently, but to still keep compassion on the front line.
While the mission to keep thousands of people alive continues at hospitals, here they must take care of the ones who put up their best fight. Tan Trung, Eyewitness News.
The general manager over at Lake Lawn says even though a family may not have been affected by COVID-19, they must adhere to the new rules for funeral services.